Welcome to Leveling Up Mental Health, and this isn't our inaugural episode. It is
our finale.
For
now.
now. But it is the end of season 1.
Yes.
It is the end of our episode slates with Story Hive. Once again, thank you. Thank you so much, Story Hive. And we have to wrestle with our thesis today.
Yeah. We got to answer our ultimate question. Are video games the hero or the villain? So this is going to be our topic today. It's just you and me.
It's you and me.
No extra guests.
Nope.
Nobody to...
No outside biases.
That's right.
All right?
Yeah.
Only our internal belief systems now.
That's right. We got to take everything we've learned from the past...
Oh my God.
How many? 7 episodes. This is our 8th episode.
Yes, it is.
For the past 7 episodes and come to a conclusion and support our conclusion.
And here's the question. Have we learned anything? Have we?
Most likely not. No, I think we've learned a lot.
Yes.
I don't want to do a disservice to our guests.
No. The thing that we learned the most in terms of our thesis, though, is that it's a very nuanced question.
That's right.
And that there is no right or wrong answer. Ultimately, it
depends. That's right.
We're not going to do that today.
No, we're going to pick a side.
We're going to pick a side, and we're going to debate them based on some of the things we learned from our guests.
That's right.
And then we'll talk about what our personal beliefs are.
Yeah, but what if we pick the same side? How do we debate
Then I'll play devil's advocate no matter what that side is. Okay,
that fits your personality well.
100%.
All right, before we get into it, we should introduce ourselves. My name is Andrew. I'm a psychologist. I work here in Calgary, Alberta.
And my name is Adolyn, and I'm an actor with a background in cognitive science.
Absolutely. And together we are best friends.
Okay, so are video games the hero or the villain? Our very first guest was Kenzie Gordon.
Yes.
And their expertise was working in violence prevention when it comes to video games. After that episode, what did you feel like video games were?
After that episode specifically.
Just that one. Yeah.
I felt like video games were the hero.
Yeah.
After that episode.
Yeah.
Especially because it was a topic, because we talked about specifically gender violence in video games. And we had a little bit of conversation around representation of gender violence and good versus bad, maybe representations.
Yeah.
But a lot of the conversation was around using video games as violence prevention.
The bystander one.
Which I think is such a cool use of video games for such a specific thing that we need more education and prevention in. And so, I came away from that feeling like the potential. I mean, I always think there's potential in video games, but I came away from that feeling like the potential was even bigger than I imagined it to be.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know. What surprised me was there's people out there doing critical game theory, which is like incredible. And then on top of that, we did a lot of research leading up to that episode, and I was surprised to learn that there wasn't a lot of evidence to say that video games increase violence.
Yeah.
Right? Even with some of the things that Kenzie talked about, which was using video games to determine whether people are more likely to commit violence in real life and things like that. And I mean, they just use psychometric reports to determine whether that changed their opinions on things, like the rape myth acceptance test, for example. And it didn't seem to change their score that much. Yeah. Which is, we would think normally the age-old thing, if you play violent video games, it's going to increase violence. If you see depictions of violence, you're more likely to, accept it. But that didn't seem to happen. Yeah,
I thought it was really interesting. And Kenzie talked about it in that episode, that general idea apparently is largely, I don't want to say debunked, but there isn't a lot of support for the whole social learning theory idea that exposure to this is just going to make you more violent.
The caveat being most of the studies were done on adults.
Right.
And of course, as kids, you're much more susceptible to those things. So, which we can't do those studies on. So and
I think also it's again, that's what brings in the nuance. It's all the ancillary things that maybe then have an effect on somebody's well-being or mental health. Like maybe playing a violent video game doesn't make you a more violent person. But Kenzie was saying certainly it has an impact on you. And so what are those impacts? Is it impacting other things? Is even the idea of, we've talked about how sometimes just playing a video game is frustrating if it's a hard game. Okay, so if I leave more irritated and frustrated, does that affect my social relationships? Like, I think there's subtle ways, other ways it can affect it.
Well, totally. I mean, like you go to work, you get cut off while you're driving. You can decide whether that's going to ruin the rest of your day, right? You know,
Right.
it's like, oh, that person cut me off, and you can think about it for the next 8 hours. But in cognitive behavioral therapy, you know, you have an opportunity to change either the way you see the event, how you interact with the event, or how you react to the event afterwards, which is, you know, you could talk to a friend, vent about it, but or you can hold on to it for longer than is healthy for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that makes me think of the episode we did with Michaela about addiction in video games. And a big part of it is how do you interact with the video games?
Absolutely.
So that's what you were speaking to. How do you, if you have a frustrating experience in a video game, how do you make sense of that? How do you process it? How do you respond to it? It's kind of like any experience we have, whether, we get cut off driving, we have a bad experience, a conflict with a friend or a partner. Any of these things could lead to unhelpful behaviors theoretically, but it's how do we interact with them, how to respond to them.
So after Kenzie, we had Andrea. And I felt like after that episode, though, for me personally, video games started to become more of a villain.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, say more about that.
Because Andrea talked about her experience in high school and how
Yeah.
video games became the outlet, and her, in the positive sense, like her social cohesion, her ability to be pro-social and those things. But, you know, she talked about very openly and vulnerably her addictions with it and how she had to wean herself off of it, and that struggle was difficult. Certainly doesn't paint video games in a very positive light.
Yeah.
You know, or specifically League of Legends. I think that's what it was. And, you know, I left afterwards thinking, I think it's great that video games can bring people together, but is it a crutch that prevents you from seeking out those social connections in the real world?
Right.
You know, because it's so accessible and so easy.
Absolutely. And I think that's often one of the arguments, right?
Yeah.
Is that, well, yes, you can connect with people over video games, but is there something more valuable about a quote unquote real life connection?
Yeah.
And I think there's arguments on both sides. You know, people would say, well, but that does a disservice to the relationships you can build over video games. But then, you know, you think about an era like COVID and the detriment to many people's mental health of not being able to have that in-person connection. I don't know.
Yeah, well, and also they talked about the cyberbullying that occurs online. And I was like, okay, well, let's say you have kids. And I told you, hey, there's an environment where they can make friends, but there is a high risk they're going to be bullied while doing it. Would you be like, yeah, sure, I'm going to send that kid to that camp? You know, like,
I mean, when you put it in that context and thinking about my own kids,
Yeah.
well, no, of course
Right?
I don't want them to have that
no,
experience.
you're like, I just want them to do the thing where there's just friends and no bullying.
Right.
But then we do this, we send them to school, and you know that's going to happen.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, is there really an environment where there isn't a risk of bullying? I don't know.
There is being friends with me.
Okay. So my kids can only be friends with you.
100%.
All right. That
No, I'd
sounds
probably
good.
bully them. I'd probably crush them.
You probably
Yeah.
would. You
Yeah,
bully me
100%.
all the time.
Yeah.
No, that's an interesting takeaway, though, especially because Andrea talked about for her, she didn't view video games as a villain, even though she had that experience of addiction with League of Legends, that she still engages with them. She still sees them as very valuable, a big part of her life. Yeah, so it's interesting that she had that takeaway, but you kind of took away, oh, well, I don't know. Maybe there's something here.
Well, I mean, absolutely, our personal experiences are always going to be subjective, but maybe it's like some games are better for you than others.
Yeah.
You know, like the frustrating games, maybe not great, or maybe, as Michaela was also saying, it's developmental.
Yeah.
Like certain stages in your life, you should engage with certain video games that are probably going to be healthier for you. And in other stages in your life, some games aren't going to be as healthy for you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So do you think there should be should we regulate that? Should we say,
Yeah,
at this age, you can't play online
Not
multiplayer
regulate,
games?
but recommend. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, like, hey, this game will, like Call of Duty, will increase frustration, expose you to online bullying,
Right.
You know, be prepared for that kind of stuff. I don't know. It's like trigger warnings, maybe.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I guess that's part of the ESRB ratings. Which
Is it?
does anybody actually listen to that?
No, I don't even know.
I mean, they don't talk about frustration. I think that would be that's an interesting idea. Adding those other.
They don't talk about
pieces.
mental health.
No, they don't. They talk about what you're exposed to, like sexual content,
And then you have to
violence.
decide whether that's good or bad
Right.
for your mental health.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you still need an element of agency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that would be interesting. Do you add in these other pieces?
Yeah.
And I think that was a big thing when people were talking about like loot boxes, microtransactions. Is this a form of gambling? Can we be doing that in games that are targeted to kids? And that was a whole conversation. Right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some people would hate that argument, right? Some people would say, no, absolutely, you cannot regulate, or not that we're saying regulate, but no, I mean, people should play what they want to play. It's part of it, and it's up to parents to
Totally, yeah.
Which
What
is
about
just-
a freedom?
Yeah.
And their independence? But I think I think some of the things are secondary, right? Like ESRBs can tell you the direct things you're going to be exposed to: gore, violence, sexual nature, all that kind of stuff. But it's not going to tell you the culture of the game.
Yeah.
When you're playing online, you know? So, and then I think this was a question Andrea posited as well. Are video game developers responsible for that? You know, or are they not?
Yeah. What do you think about that now? How much, because that's a conversation that came up in that episode. It came up in the episode with Keith.
Yeah.
It came up a few times.
Yeah.
What is the responsibility of video game developers as we're sitting here in this summary of these past episodes?
Look, I'm going to take a hard stance.
Oh yeah, okay, I'm
hard
ready.
stance.
Do
okay. I think it depends on the game, but I think video game developers need to increase the responsibility on the types of games they're putting out and understand the effects of it. I understand the monetary incentive for games, and of course, there's going to be games that we're going to keep playing again and again with the same sort of cycle and that sort of stuff. And I don't think and to give them the benefit of the doubt, I don't think you're going to know right away, right? You might release a game and then find out later it has this effect on people.
Right.
But I do think we're in a world in which like there's just so much information that we need a couple of things. Like in the world of AI, we're going to need to know whether this was really made by humans or not. And I think that's a responsibility of developers. That's not going to be up to us, or, you know, I don't want to have to hire like a third party system or like Norton anti-AI virus stuff, you know, like I want to know what's real and what's not. And that's the responsibility of government regulation and developers. And then I kind of want to know what it's going to do to my kids, because I'm not going to have time to play the entirety of a game and go, yeah, this is appropriate for my kids or my friends or people with mental health challenges. Right. I'd like to know the themes that go beyond just ESRB ratings, and just, it doesn't have to be preventative. Like they don't have to say like, sorry, it doesn't have to be prohibitive, but it's preventative, right? I don't need them to say, don't play this, but I want to be aware that, hey, like in some point in this game, you're going to be experiencing some sort of violence. Not only is that ESRB rating, but violence can affect you in X, Y, Z ways. And you're probably going to press X and ignore that little disclaimer anyways.
Right.
But I think for a parent who's going to start a game right away, or for us to be able to talk about it openly, like maybe we need to change the culture around it too. And developers can start that conversation, which is like, we'll just put it on Reddit or forums where people can say, yeah, this game made me feel X, Y, Z. And I just want to, you know, let people be aware of that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah. No, it's an interesting perspective. I guess, you know, if I were to take the other side.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure my own beliefs around it are nuanced, and it depends. But I think what makes that difficult is everything we've learned from these episodes, that it is very nuanced. And so it would be hard for a developer to say, you might experience frustration at these parts, or violence may affect you in this, and this way, because I don't know that it's not necessarily true across the board. They can say across the board there's violence, but can they say across the board, well, violence, and I guess that's why they'd say, well, it may affect you in these ways.
Yeah.
But I think it gets into a really murky area, because for some people it might affect them this way, some people affect them this way. So then do they have to have this like laundry list of, it may affect you this way and this way and this way and this way?
That's true. And then do you do that with movies? Do you do that with other things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I don't know if there's a right answer to it.
No, I don't think there is a right answer.
But I do think perhaps it's even more of a question of like, maybe we can go deeper. Like, really, it's a question of like motive. Like, why are we making this game?
Yeah.
Like, there are some things, if we're only doing for the sake of monetary gain, I can probably say fairly definitively, if it's just for that sole purpose, and that's the only reason why we've either added that to the game or created that game, it's probably not that good for you. You know, like if it's just for that specific reason, you know, if there's other things around it, we're like, yes, we're going to add this thing. It is going to make us money, but also it's going to improve the player experience. It's going to be more fun. Sure. That's fair game. I mean, we live in a capitalist world. People need to make their ends meet. I get that.
Yeah.
But I think there are a lot of things that are happening around now in not just in video games, but literally like every industry out there, where we're just creating things for the sake of creating them without fully understanding it. And I think there's a difference between intelligence and wisdom.
Right.
So we have artificial intelligence where we're building something like generative AI, but we don't have wisdom, right?
Right.
And artificial wisdom, I don't even know if you can create something like that, because the creators themselves need to have that kind of wisdom.
Yeah.
And you can't learn that just by reading the internet. So
What? You can't?
no, what is that involved? There's no Ask Jeeves wisdom version, you know? So I think like we're propelling society forward, but I don't know if that's always for the better. And I feel like that's kind of happening in video games right now too, which is the industry's churning out games left, right, and center. And there's so many reskins of games and things like that. And sure, it'll make short-term gain, but I don't think it's wise. Like over the long term, you're going to lose fan bases. People are going to get disinterested, and it's short-term gain for long-term pain, you know? Right. So that's kind of my 2 cents on it.
Yeah. No, I think it's a fair point. And I think there is a responsibility, and it's, I mean, we're talking about this interesting intersection of art and business. Yeah. Right. That, video games, creation of video games is an art. Yeah. And at the same time, it is a business. That was a big part of our episode with Keith, was talking about developers do need to keep the lights on. And so they will add things to make money. And that's a big part of what they have to do, especially AAA games that are costing millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah. And that's a fair point too, right? Yeah. Like the fan base needs to recognize that these games aren't easy to make. And there's hundreds of people employed that all need to, like when you say millions, that could be just 50 people working on it. Yeah. At $50,000 a year. Like you're already in the millions. Very quickly. Yeah. Like,
but I think the other piece is that gamers aren't stupid.
No.
Generally. No. And they see through what you were saying. If something is added just to make money, I think those are often the things that are criticized by the fan base when a game is released. Whereas if something is smartly integrated, that's, like you said, to make money, but also serves the game, the player experience, the narrative, whatever it is, and it's put in there thoughtfully, then often I think that's accepted a little bit more.
Yeah.
But
then the devil's advocate, the other side to that is, there are some games that are just so addictive and so fun to play that you put up with having to spend money to play it.
Right.
And gamers are not stupid, but we're also want to play the game.
Right.
So sometimes we'll put up with things that we wouldn't normally accept just to play the game.
That's true. Well, and there's that whole mindset of, well, what can I do? I'm one person.
Yeah, exactly.
So me not buying this game, there's the common thought of vote with your wallet.
Yeah.
But then people get in the
mindset, I'm not going to make a difference. My wallet doesn't matter.
Yeah. I want to have fun. My friends are playing it. I'll just do it.
Yeah. Like, there's games, oh my God, like Fortnite and Rocket League. What are they? They're free to play?
Free to play, but then they add in like
microtransactions and stuff like that. And, I'm not going to take away somebody putting Batman skins on there, Fortnite or whatever the case is. Like, that's pretty epic and fun, and it's such a huge game. But every company that's trying to mimic that, I'm like, oh, maybe Fortnite was just like lightning in a bottle. It was the intersection of art, or maybe they knew. But I feel like after that, and this is not, this is totally anecdotal, so don't research quote me on this, but I feel like after that, people are like, oh, that's what we can do. And so maybe the motives for Fortnite or games that came prior to that were like that were more about like, how do we make this fun? How do we make it interesting? And we'll make some money off these things, but I don't think anybody knew it was going to blow up that much.
Yeah.
And now everybody's trying to mimic that. But I'm like, well, now you're only doing that for money. Like, I think the original goal of that game wasn't just money. It was, what if we do something fun? What if we change this? But I don't know. I might be wrong. Yeah.
It's hard to say. It's that whole, it's hard to interpret people's intents and motives. And I mean, a lot of great art mimics past things too.
Totally.
Like, not everything can reinvent the wheel. Like this is very much, this will kind of put a date and time as to when we're recording this, but Expedition 33 has been a big conversation this year.
Yeah.
Just won Game of the Year.
Didn't it get stripped of its Game of the Year award?
Only in, I think it was the Indie Game Awards or something.
Yeah.
Because of like a little bit of AI that was put in, but apparently it was an accident. I don't know. It was I don't want to speak for them. But.
Yeah. As far as I understand it, they used it to build some assets years ago in the pre-development of the game.
Right. And they accidentally left it in or something.
No, they didn't even leave it in. They apparently took it out. And then real people end up making it, but the the question is,
it was in the pipeline.
Yeah.
Which that's part of the debate.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they didn't, the Game Awards themselves, they still won Game of the Year.
Totally.
But that was one that I think is a bit of a lightning in a bottle, but I bet we're going to see a bunch of games try and capture the essence of that. And it's the same question. Well, they like clearly one of the things that I think people resonated with is they made this with great artistic intent.
A lot of passion.
And it's a brilliant game because of that. So then other people that try to mimic that, well, are they doing that with artistic intent, or are they looking at this thing that blew up, made a whole bunch of money? How do we do that? I don't know. It's hard to say.
I mean, I will say, I'm sure many businesses evolve like that. They steal ideas from each other.
Sure. I mean, that's a normal thing.
Yeah. So I just think, it comes down to that intelligence is not wisdom.
Yeah.
If we're going to shortcut it, it may work for a short period of time. But eventually, gamers are too smart, right? And even when we're talking about mental health, right? Like, I don't know if I want to expose myself to that level of drudgery, like it's not, but people will do it. Yeah. So I think as long as you're mindful in how you're engaging with those things and you don't expect it to do something beyond what it's capable of, you're probably going to be okay. Yeah. It's kind of what I learned throughout our conversations with so many people. Like Mira was a great example. Some games worked for her. Some games definitely did not. Yeah. But she was, wise enough to go, well, this is what's going to help for me during my commutes, during my time, during my transient periods, all of those types of things. And then these games aren't going to be that great for me. Too much stimulus, too much, and it makes me feel more stressed out. And then she was able to go, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and that episode was great because, and I think I said this in our debrief of that one, but it was a great reminder of something I think I know, but it was a good salient reminder that everybody has a different experience with these games. Totally. And different people are going to respond to them differently. Different people's brains need different things from the things they engage with, including video games. And so, I think ultimately the responsibility is with us, of course. We're not saying it's all the video game developers. They got to make all the... But we have a lot of responsibility in HC too to decide what impacts me. I've talked on a couple episodes about how I decide not to engage in very many online multiplayer games because I know they're not good for my mental health. Yeah. I don't want to experience both the potential addictive qualities, the frustration of it, the cyberbullying that can happen. I mean, I'm an adult, but I still get affected by those things, and I know I'm sensitive to it. Yeah. And so I choose not to engage with that. I have the responsibility to choose that. Yeah. One other, keeping on this kind of responsibility theme, some of the episodes we talked with Darrett, with Kenzie a bit, we talked about representation of different themes in general within games. And I think one thing that we've seen done quite well, not always well, but in a lot of cases well, where video game developers, I think, do have a responsibility, but they take it pretty seriously, is how they represent these themes in their narrative. Yeah. Whether that is something like queer representation or representation of gender violence. And it's not saying they all hit it out of the park because it's hard to do. But I think that's a place where there's some responsibility. If you're going to handle a sensitive theme, you need to do it thoughtfully because that is something that could impact somebody's mental health. Totally. And now, is it their fault if somebody has a reaction to it? I don't know. I don't think it's quite that linear, but people have lived experiences that have left them with trauma, with challenges. And if they're going to engage with a piece of media that delves into that brings some of these things up, I think, again, there's an individual responsibility. Am I in the place that I can engage with this? But I think there's a developer responsibility of, can we thoughtfully present this rather than just throw it in for the sake of throwing it in?
But that always wasn't the case, right?
Yeah.
Like there's lots of games, movies that didn't have good representation. Mm-hmm. So why do you think developers... Well, first, we agree that they have a responsibility. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like that's a new thing?
Ooh.
Or has it been something that they've always had to have a responsibility for?
That's a good question. I don't know. It's hard to retroactively think because I only know...
Like, does Mario represent Italian culture? And did they have a responsibility?
Right. I mean... on the one hand, I would like to say, yes, there's always been a responsibility, but the culture around it has changed. What we see as maybe an insensitive representation now, 15, 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, was not generally by the majority considered an insensitive representation. Like it's interesting. Many people talk about that, watching a show from 10, 15 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And even watching episodes of like The Office or something, where I love The Office, but every once in a while there's a joke that you kind of cringe and say, "Ooh, you couldn't get away with that now."
Yeah.
Just because the conversation around it has changed, we think about it a little bit differently. Minorities have become more vocal about what's affecting them, what's not. So I think there's always a responsibility to consider, how is this going to impact the people that are consuming this product, this media, But what that responsibility means, I think, shifts as the conversation shifts, because even language changes, right? What a word means culturally can change over time.
Yeah.
And so a word used again 20 years ago might mean something a little bit different now. So yes, there was a responsibility back then, but they wouldn't think of it the same way.
Yeah, so I learned recently that the word idiot was used for people who are politically illiterate in Greek democracy. When democracy was introduced in Greece, in Athens. Yeah. And now we use it to basically, to be pejorative and insulting to people. But it was used specifically to delineate people who were or weren't part of the political literacy groups at that time. I 100% agree with you. I think what's interesting about it, though, is like we say things like you can't get away with it, which like. And I know we were just saying it. I'm not calling it out or anything like that. But there's this like implication that, we know it's kind of bad, but we can get away with it. Like we can push the envelope this far. Yeah. And I think in media and art, you're supposed to be able to do that. Yeah. Because that's kind of the point. You're allowed in art to push envelopes, to challenge the status quo and that sort of thing. But there's a difference between punching up and punching down. And we talk about this in comedy all the time. Yeah. Punching up means we point out a inequity or an issue, but we don't insult the victim of that, whatever that context is. Punching down is using the victim as the butt of the joke. So we're laughing at them, right? And we're laughing at their plight. And sometimes some people can get away with it. Usually people who are of that culture or ethnicity or gender or whatever, they can be representative. And oftentimes when they're the subject of that punching down. So there's a lot of comedians out there who will use themselves as the butt of the joke, and we laugh along with them because we're like, oh, this person's safe. They're making fun of themselves, and that's okay. But if that same comedian started to make fun of me or somebody else, even for the exact same things, we go, well, that's now bullying, right? And so I think about like video games, and I think about like brown representation in video games. Yeah. And for a long time, I don't know, America has this fascination with the war. And the enemies were basically, in video games, the cultural enemies of that time. Right. I think Call of Duty went from Russians to Arabs to, I don't even know who you're fighting now these days. Like, I haven't played the recent ones, but, like, there's always the Team America Black Ops mission, and it's always to save democracy and freedom from either communism or terrorism. Right. And that's the topic. And I wouldn't even known that this was a bad thing until someone pointed it out to me. But I grew up playing those games and be like, yeah, I want to kill those people. Thinking, wait, it's kind of weird that those people kind of look like me. But I would be able to do some cognitive dissonance as a kid and go, well, that's not really me. Those are the bad versions of those people. And there's bad people everywhere and that sort of thing. And I had good friends and I had some level of education and I was able to delineate the two. But now looking back at it, I go, that kind of sucked. Like that representation of my people, what I look like, painting everyone as a monolith, stereotyping, like that had real world effects. And I can only imagine these little things get more and more reinforced over time. So you watch movies that depict brown people as bad people. You watch the news and brown people are bad people. And then you play video games and brown people are bad people. And that's all of this was like exacerbated post 9/11. And that's not to take away the victims of 9/11. Like that's so tragic and horrible. But it had it continued to have victims in the way our culture shifted from the fact that it takes longer to board a plane now. Right. That sucks for all of us. Right. We're in it together. But, enhanced security. I think like it's interesting. Like I wonder what my life would have been like if video games had a disclaimer and TV had a disclaimer like, hey, we want to share this story, which fair, like everyone has the prerogative to share whatever story they want. But just as a reminder that these are not real depictions of real people and that these are stereotypes or something, Right. Or like, because we're talking about those things now.
Yeah.
But we're talking about them because we're standing on the shoulders of people who are victims of it. Like the Me Too movement moved forward our conversation on gender equity and equality more than anything else. But we forget that there was tons of victims that had to, I don't know what the word is, but were victims of that movement prior to that, and that led to that movement. The Black Lives Matter movement, same thing. We're still seeing the effects of racial inequity in the West specifically. So it's I don't know, like I guess I'm just rambling a little bit, but you brought a really good point up where the responsibility of representation I think goes really deep, because we don't know what the secondary effects are going to be. Yeah. Beyond just playing that game in this isolated version. Like you don't create art not knowing that it's going to affect people. That would be quite naive.
Right. Well, the whole purpose for a lot of people to creating art is to affect people.
Totally.
But often there's an intended effect and then there's the unintended effects.
Yeah.
And we don't always think about those. Well, and I appreciate you sharing about that, because those are things that that I wouldn't have even thought of, especially as a kid, right? I didn't notice the shift from, I'm shooting Germans to now I'm shooting people who look like you. Like, that wasn't something that would have registered for me. And that's part of my own privilege. And, but it's interesting to think about it through that lens, and that you're right. It's always this hard interplay of video games are art and people can create whatever art they want. Yeah. Like I'm very much a believer in that. I don't think there should really be many restrictions on what people can do with their art. At the same time, there's this idea of responsibility and those it's nuance, those interplay with each other. And that's one of those effects, those little things that come up and say, characters are depicted are fictional, not real. Those come up sometimes in games, and I always just kind of brush them off of like, obviously. But thinking about it through that cultural lens of, right. Like, I just think of it as, the main character is not based on somebody real. Right. But thinking, certain races, certain cultures, certain ethnicities that are represented here. Yeah, that's going to have an effect.
Well, and we're all group thinkers, right? Like we have in-group and out-group biases all the time. And the problem isn't that a game can't explore those things with an all or nothing mentality. It's just that it happens everywhere all at once, to quote the movie. Like
nice, great movie.
Yeah. But like, it wasn't just that, now video games started to depict Arabs as, it's like all of our movies started to talk about it, our culture in schools, like everything started to shift around it. And so for that hot sec, like those were the bad guys. The same thing happened to Cold War Russia, right? Like it was like our entire culture was just so anti-communist, quote unquote, right? That everything from the things we were buying to the things we were experiencing had some sort of hint about it, right? And it's hard not to go, it kind of feels like propaganda, like, and we're seeing stuff now too, like AI is everywhere, and like constant ads about it, constantly people being like, this is amazing, you can do so many amazing things, Mark Cuban tweeting about it, and you're like, okay, like relax, like I see that as technology, but like, can we solve some of the basic problems first? Like, can we make sure that everybody's fed and we have enough money to live? Like, so I just feel like, I don't know if that's intentional or not. I don't want to get all conspiracy theory about it, but there is a cultural zeitgeist, and there's an interesting book. Oh my God, I forgot what it's called. I think it's called The Zombie Zeitgeist. And the idea is basically that cultures will start to create the similar art across the globe based on how they perceive how hopeful or unhopeful the future is. So years ago, when you used to draw the future or write about it, we would think like the Jetsons. Right. Like it was like this cool technological advancement or that sort of thing. And then that moved away. And then we also started to think about what like humans would look like. And a lot of that time, like a lot of vampire shows were coming out. And if you think about what a vampire is like the kind of the epitome of what a human can be in some ways. They're strong, they're powerful, they're sexy. And then at some point we started to just do zombies, which is the complete opposite of a hopeful future. It's all, like if you think about it, it's like they're the opposite of vampires. It's the worst version of us. It's the most perverse versions of us where we don't even have brains and hearts and we just want to eat each other, cannibalizing each other.
Yeah.
And now it's like Fallout. It's all androids and artificial intelligence and robots taking over and, everything's double downing on that kind of storyline. And now it's not zombies, it's post-apocalyptic.
Right.
Like the world is going to end, but like, well, how do we survive afterwards?
Interesting.
And those stories are always there, like remnants of it, but it's just like how much of it we start to put out as a culture. And so...
That's fascinating.
Yeah, isn't it?
Really fascinating.
But I think it's kind of, it was my belief, like I think it's true. And that's why we're talking about representation. Because now it's like in vogue. It's a cultural zeitgeist.
Yeah.
And now there's a counterlash to it, right? Like you can't say DEI anymore.
Yeah.
That's like how long did it last? Now. Oh no, 5 years and that's all we got, like, so yeah, it is going back to, I think it affects our mental health. And
absolutely. Part of what it's making me think about is there's kind of like the flashbulb mental health effects, and then the systemic, the insidious over time mental health effects. Because if I think about, what do I come across in my therapy room, and that's obviously anecdotal, and just one therapist working with certain things, and video game addiction isn't even my specialty. So certainly there's a skew in my evidence here, but conversations that I might have with clients are more around those things like the addictive qualities of video games, or like an online multiplayer video game that's maybe taking over a big chunk of somebody's life. How is that serving them? How is that not serving them? Is this creating a problem for them? Is this getting in the way of their relationships? A lot of those themes that we talked about with Michaela on that episode. But there aren't a lot of conversations I'm necessarily having with clients about is their mental health being affected by the systemic representation of certain identities that are relevant to them over time. Not necessarily. Once in a while it might come up as kind of an interesting conversation, but we don't necessarily look at that as this is an in the moment impact on your mental health. And there is a deeper layer of impact. So I don't know if I have a point with that. I think it's just interesting to think about, from a mental health professional standpoint, what are the things I see show up in therapeutic conversations. And maybe that's something, maybe I'm taking learning from this. Maybe I need to have more therapeutic conversations with people if video games are a relevant part of their lives, obviously.
Well, I would say, not that I'm telling you how to therapize.
No, tell me what to do. Yeah.
But I would say that's an ethos or framework of retraining. Because social workers, for example, are constantly thinking about systems theory.
True.
And they're thinking about, well, you're depressed, but maybe there's a million other things going on in your life. And I'm sure you're doing that conversation, but I guarantee you people who have been victims of this and then have become aware of that being the reasoning, like systemic biases that have disprivileged them, 100% they're talking about it in their therapy settings. Like in my conversations with my therapist, it's always, what can I do? But also there are systems that are built against you.
Right.
And it isn't your individual onus to be able to change that. It's too hard. You can vote with your wallet, you can vote literally and change that. But there are things that disprivilege, intersectional privilege, right? Like there's some things that I have so much privilege in. I'm a cisgendered male. I get tons of privilege that way. And then there's a lot of things I'm disprivileged in as a brown guy, and the automatic assumptions that are built and made about me just for me existing in the world. So everybody has it. Like I know we say things like, it's a cisgendered white male's world. And I'm like, yeah, kind of, it is. But if that same person was in different parts of the world, they would also have intersectional privilege. So we just have to be aware, and context and wisdom is what else helps us, I think, create discernment around those things.
Yeah. So do you think playing those video games that depicted villains that looked like you. Do you think that had a negative impact on your mental health?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think not alone.
Right.
So going back to
again, everything all
yeah,
together.
yeah. But not to get into my whole history of, of racism and things like that. But yeah, like for sure, like there were times where I'd go to school or languages that people use against me that I'm like, oh, I think that stuff has been made more permissive because of the things you're consuming. Mm-hmm. And we all know like online language and online culture is not great. But then on top of that, you create this permissive attitude of racism, ageism, genderism. Then I feel like it'll bleed out in ways in your quote unquote real world too.
Yeah.
Especially as kids, you know, like your world isn't separated. Mm-hmm. You don't have a professional version of you and a not, you're just a kid. And so generally how you react in a video game as a child, at 12 years old, is probably how you're going to react in schoolyard hierarchies as well, So, yeah.
One of the things I've been thinking a lot about over this season and since we've been filming these episodes is, and it's come up in some of our debriefs, but just the question of, are video games good or bad for my own mental health? I've talked about different experiences growing up and how they impact me. And in our first episode, we talked about how it saved our friendship and helps us connect. But it is interesting to just think about it in a more detailed way. I think I've been paying closer attention to it as we've been going forward. And I think even just looking at, on the one hand, I love that I have this passionate hobby that it's an easy default. Like, when people talk about, I don't have a hobby and I feel for them. It's something to explore lots with people in therapy is how do you find your passions and things that fill your cup. And for me, I'm like, if I get 20 minutes to play video games, I feel great. But at the same time, I think having that default prevents me sometimes from exploring other passions or hobbies or, kind of stepping out of that comfort zone. And maybe there's certain healthier choices I would have made at certain points if I didn't always have that default of, I just play video games for a while instead of working out, instead of playing a sport or doing something like that.
Yeah.
So it's interesting just reflecting on what the role it has now. And so just thinking about that for, we were just talking about how it maybe impacted you growing up. What do you think is the impact now for you in whatever sense that is?
Well, let me ask you a question because we're talking, and then do you feel like you default to certain video games over other games? Because you can always do Wii Fit or something like that,
Yes, that's true. Yeah. I have Just Dance.
Yeah, exactly. And we played it.
We have.
And we're not that good at it.
I think we look great.
Yeah, we look great. Are we on beat? I don't know.
Who cares?
Yeah. Because there's other resistances to doing other things, right? Like everything has a barrier. And one of the benefits and also drawbacks because of the addictive quality, like video games have such a low barrier to entry.
Yeah.
Like working out has a lot more inertia than sitting on a couch and just playing
For sure.
a game.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can beat yourself up over that too much. But
nice.
but I get it. Like, I guess my question to you then is, do you feel like you're missing out on something? Honestly,
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Not at this point. There may have been times where that was true.
Yeah.
And maybe part of that is because where I'm at in life right now is I don't really have the option. And maybe even saying that is doing a disservice to myself. That I always have an option and a choice. I could totally be an absentee parent to play more video games, I guess, if I wanted. But
yeah, I was going to say, you're not, you don't,
I don't want to.
You barely play video games now.
Yeah.
Because,
so no, I don't think I'm really missing out. There's once in a while where I make that choice because it's a lower barrier to entry, and instead of exercising, I play video games because the reward is immediately there.
Totally.
And I don't think that's always a bad thing.
But you're building dad strength.
Right. Yeah.
Lifting
that's
them
right.
up,
Yeah.
And you found a healthy way to infuse it within your family.
Mm-hmm.
Like you and your partner play games together.
Yeah.
You've introduced healthy games to your kids. You found some fun environments around it. You play Lego and other things that still give you the gamification, but isn't always on a screen. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. I feel better. I wasn't beating myself up.
No, I know you weren't. I know you weren't.
It's interesting to think about.
I think it's a good example of how we should discuss these things within our own lives too, because sometimes what I always find is when I work with people who want to change habits, they want to do like all or nothing.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to eat well, I'm going to sleep well, I'm going to do all of them all at once now, tomorrow. You know, not even tomorrow, now, you know, and you're like, well, let's think about what we can do slowly over time. And that's probably healthier for you than for you to try to do like this 30-day kick where you get rid of everything and you start to do all these positive things because you burn out. Yeah. And there's something like the recidivism rate for 30-day like challenges is like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So like you'll do 30 days of yoga and you'll be like, yeah, I'm going to do it again. And then within 2 weeks, you're back to your baseline.
Right.
So it's not great. So I always tell people, think about averages, right? So maybe you're not going to do 30 days in a row, but can you do twice a week? And then average that out to a month, 8 times a month, average that out to a year. That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's quite a bit, actually.
Yeah.
You know, for almost half the year you were working out. That's pretty good. For almost half the year you had vegetables. Like, that's pretty good. You know, it's easier to think about it in that way than to try to, and I think it's like the flip side works too. If you're trying to reduce something, it's going to be really hard to get rid of a passion that you love, even if it is detrimental. But if you can try to slowly reduce it, you're probably more likely to do it. Of course, if it's like super detrimental to your health, you know, work with a qualified health professional and really try to, you know, work on what that is. But, you know, like I want to try to cut down on some of the sugar foods and processed foods I eat. I could try to get rid of all of them tomorrow, or I can start to go, I'm going to start to make healthier choices and every now and again create a better relationship to those things. And I feel like video games is the same thing. Like, absolutely.
Yeah. I often, I can't remember, maybe I've said this on an episode already, but I often use the analogy of a pie chart when I'm talking about these things with clients that, you know, your life is full of all these different things. We can get stuck on a couple slices of the pie, but it's thinking about what are the other slices of that pie? What do you want your pie to be filled with? It's not necessarily about get rid of video games if they're having a detrimental effect. It's maybe part of why they're taking up so much space is because we haven't figured out what the other slices of the pie you want to have
That's a great point.
And so it's really exploring, well, what's in line with your values? What goals are in line with those values? And how do we start filling in those other slices? And then naturally, I think we not always, but naturally we start to find more of a balance with something like video games. Because it doesn't have to be this all or nothing of don't do it. It's just, well, what else is there that would give you balance? And then you'll find that equilibrium.
And also research shows it's easier to add things that are positive to your plate to help reduce the negative things than try to get rid of things and then wait for that empty space.
For sure.
So if I was use like a plate metaphor, like it's a lot easier for you to stop eating like things that aren't good for you if you just add more of that positive stuff onto your plate. You add more vegetables, you add more protein, you're going to fill up and then you're not going to feel as likely. But if you just get rid of the cake, then you just have an empty spot you're looking at, right? And that's like psychologically, you want to fill it with something. It's hard. So to your question, I think video games are now, because I'm more mindfully engaged with them, definitely positive for my mental health. But that's mostly because the games I'm interested in, I feel like add value to me either emotionally, spiritually, or give me an experience that I feel like I wouldn't get anywhere else. We talked about like story and how in video games you aren't just like passively like reading it, or you're actually an active part of it. And I don't feel like there's any medium that makes me feel like I'm an active part of the art that's being made currently. In the same way, you know?
No, it makes a lot of sense.
Which is why I love story-based games, RPGs, and that sort of thing. Like I get to connect my passion of reading and stories, but I get to feel like, I'm actually exploring and uncovering this story as an adventurer on my own.
That engagement with it. I think that was always something that stood with me when I would play or read books growing up, is especially fantasy books. There was a sense of, but I want to know more about this world. I want to see more of it. People talk about the world building, the lore is always so interesting. And so video games give you that chance to literally just, we'll run in that direction. Go explore.
Totally.
That's why I always love open world games, because I think it feeds that sense of, I get to see more of this world. And then go engage with the narrative when I want to.
But I am actively avoiding games that did cause mental health challenges when I was growing up, though. Like I don't play shooter games. I don't do those things, partly because I don't like the violence in games. Like I'm not really into it anymore. And two, like the depictions, like I don't know what the representation is going to be like. And I'd rather work and support studios that are actively thinking about it than ones that are not. Not to say there are ones that aren't, I don't even know. But I'm like, I don't need that, you know, like I don't need that negative experience of it or that addictive quality, or I don't need to see another badly represented character.
Right.
You know, so.
Yeah. Engaging with that doesn't serve you.
No, it's not helpful. But, you know, for some people it is. And I'm not knocking anybody who's going to play any of those types of games. But I do feel like there's less and less of those games for sure.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot more games that are now being built with all kinds of mindfulness, whether it's representation or whether it's the game loop. And part of it is just, like you said, gamers are smart. They're discerning. And they're not going to spend their hard-earned money on a game that's not going to fulfill them.
Yeah, absolutely. What was the most surprising moment of this season for you?
Surprising moment? Do you have an answer?
No.
I will stall for both of us.
As I was asking, I thought, I don't even know what I would answer to this.
I think overall, I can't pick one moment, but I think overall what was most surprising to me was just how many people out there want to talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was tasked with trying to get some guests and things like that. And I thought it was going to be so hard. Like, I was like, who's going to talk about the intersection between video games and mental health? I know there's people who want to talk about video games, and I know people want to talk about mental health.
Yeah.
But both of those things, like, there's probably going to be like 2 people out there, and I already know one of them. You know, like, so. But no, like the amount of people that we have that I can't wait for us to continue to make more episodes to invite on. Like, it's really surprising. Like, we have people in the intersection of accessibility in video games. We still haven't talked to youth. You know, we still need to get young people on the podcast and talk about their experiences of video games and mental health. And we have people lined up wanting to do that too.
Absolutely.
So I think that was really pleasantly surprising for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think I was surprised by that too.
Don't take my answer.
Yeah, what you said. But it's true. It's cool that so many people wanted to talk about this. And we have people lined up. We're ready to do more. We're really excited about it. Okay, no, I'll give a different answer. I'll give a real answer.
Yeah.
I feel like part of me keeps getting drawn back to our episode with Mira and her talking about how different games helped her cope or were too overstimulating and stressful, and just how different my experience with video games is from what she described. And that's where I don't know if surprising is the right word, because it makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, and as a therapist, these are conversations we have all the time with.
But maybe it was insightful or something.
It was insightful, and I think especially because I don't always think of video games in that therapeutic context, because they're just a passionate hobby of mine. And so I think that was just really interesting, and that really stuck with me.
So now you're going to start to use video games in your therapeutic process?
Yeah. I'm just going to...
What a great excuse, eh?
Every session, I'm going to open with a video game and have people rate how overstimulating versus how comforting.
Listen, I talked to an expert on this, and they said it really helps. So, yeah.
I wish. I mean, some people use video games in sessions.
I think we talked about this too. Like, there's so many research areas that makes me want to go back and get a PhD just to put some of our ideas into practice, you know?
All right, so are video games the hero or the villain?
Ooh, tough. We're picking a side.
Let's pick a side.
We're picking a side.
Do it. You can't say it depends.
Can't say it depends. But here's the thing. Are you going to pick the opposite of what I say, or are you going to agree with me?
Well, I don't. This is where you get to answer first. I guess you have the advantage.
I know. Okay, no, we'll go 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
You ready? 3, 2, 1.
One.
60-40.
That's not picking a side.
I know.
Wait, 60-40 which way?
60 hero, 40 villain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, 40% villain.
Yeah.
All right, tell me why.
I think putting the onus of responsibility on the individual, given our current context, makes it very hard for me to say that it's going to be the hero for a long time.
Interesting.
I think it's currently the hero.
Okay.
Up until 2025.
Yeah.
You know, I think it has been generally a very positive thing, but I fear for the way industries, not just video games, but art itself is going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a very valid answer.
Yeah.
I know one of our goals for next season would be having an expert in AI on to talk about that.
But not just AI. Like, I think like you were saying, there are so many things that are parts of us know deeply. They're like, oh, I should be doing this. I should be working out, or I should. And it's not just video games, but there's so many distractions. Like the phone is a big one, because we're talking about we're not just like when you and I talk about video games, we're thinking about like the fun ones on console, but I'm thinking about like the addictive games on your phone that I'm like, point. I really can't see a huge positive of mobile gaming.
Interesting. Well, like and I really can't. Some like cultures, some countries, mobile gaming is the primary source of gaming. Like consoles are not big everywhere.
No. Or that's internet gaming or streaming gaming. Yeah. They're not. So, and I think exposing kids to games that young is villainous. I do. Yeah. Like I'll take that side.
All right, take it. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think developmentally, we don't know the effects. I think it was a lot simpler when it was side scrollers and sort of linear games. You could kind of go, I'm there, I'm done. But the addictive qualities that keep bringing you back in, like, I don't know if I'd want that as a kid either. Like we kind of grew up on the precipice of these changes. Yeah. But we got opportunities to go outside and play and all of those types of things. Yeah. And I'm not saying that stuff, not to sound like a curmudgeon, like those things still exist and people do it. Sure. But we do know. You go outside, you're not necessarily letting your kids hang out with the neighbor's kids and just like letting them go out for 4 hours. Like we don't do that stuff anymore because things have sort of changed, you know? And I feel like video games are the same thing. Like I don't even know what the new games are like, you know? But I do know that we can have wisdom on it and decide what's good for us. But will kids?
Right.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, and I mean, it's a good point because then I guess the argument is, well, parents are responsible for their kids. And yes, of course they are. But I think that there's obviously nuance in that argument too, because not all parents, like me as a parent, I get video games. So I can help make nuanced decisions about which ones hopefully will have a beneficial versus not beneficial impact on my kids as they grow up. But we can't expect every parent to know that implicitly. They're just going to look at, I guess, this is M-rated. Don't play this. This is T.
Well, and this is why I said the current context.
Right.
So most people are living paycheck to paycheck, barely surviving, trying to fight the life struggles. And so it's a lot easier to be like, here, take the phone, take this tablet. Yeah. And the kids will just figure it out. And then you have no idea what they're exposing themselves to. Yeah. And that's a very different world where, you know, my computer was in the living room and everybody got to see what I was doing, you know, like the consoles were on TVs and, you know, not in your hand privately. I don't know. It's just, it's scary to me to think about the effects it can have and the lack of awareness about the effects it can have. Right. Which is why I think it is exciting that we're doing this because you know, and I take this job very seriously. Like we may be information for people. Like parents might listen to this and go, holy, what do I do? You know, and we want to explore those things in future episodes as well, with more experts. But like I would love to get a kid on and this is all my biased perspective too, but I'm like, kids these days playing too many games, go out and play baseball. But I think that's why I would say right now, I feel like it's the villain. It's not the hero it was when it lived long enough to become the villain. Ooh, that's what it was.
Well said. Yeah. Wow. Well, I appreciate you taking a bold stance. Yeah. Well done.
Now your turn.
My turn to defend why they're the hero?
Yeah.
Well, I think that a lot of the conversations we had with people on these episodes is, again, that idea of, yes, they can have villainous qualities to them. They can impact people in villainous ways. And that could be said about many of the things we engage with in our world. And that, like we said earlier on this episode, we have to be mindful of how we're engaging with them, how these things affect us. And I think that there are so many stories we heard from people on these episodes and that we hear from people in our personal lives and that we have in our own personal lives where video games have served such a wonderful purpose. They're a passion, and engaging with passions it's a positive part of mental health. I think video games allow us to connect with people. That was our whole video game saved our friendship. They kept us connected over the 10 years, the dark times when you didn't live here. I think that the potential for the use of video games. So Kenzie talked about the potential of violence prevention with video games. The narrative potential of being able to represent complex, heavy themes in a medium that is more interactive. I think there's certain risks with that, but I think there's so much potential, and we've seen so much benefit of that, of people being able to engage with these narratives that are really meaningful, and that they've played a role in, like in RPGs. I think, again, the episode with Mira and talking about how video games are actually a really important coping tool, to help, like with the transition after work, those kind of things. I think even, thinking about talking to Keith and the video game developer side, and that, yes, there were conversations around the business and financial decisions, keep the lights on and all of that. There's a whole conversation there. But at the same time, it's a massive industry that employs people, that allows people to work on something they're really passionate about. It's a really cool thing from my perspective. And so, yeah, I still stand firmly on the side of video games are the hero.
Nice.
All right.
Nice.
Season 2 will be our showdown.
Yeah, exactly. Will it save or break our friendship?
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, man. First of all, thank you for this journey, my friend.
Oh, thank you.
I feel like this is the last skill testing question of season 1.
We'll just do it again.
Yeah, we'll just do it tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll
do another one. Okay.
Skill testing question. Let's end season 1 with a big one.
Let's do it.
Okay, I want to do yours first. Okay. I'm excited about this. So, I need my phone to help me with this. So your skill testing question is a series of multiple choice questions.
Oh, okay? Yeah. You made one? Or you found one online?
It's a fairly simple one.
Okay.
I just looked up information that
Got it.
You'll see. It lends itself to multiple choice fairly easily.
Got it.
So again, this kind of dates when we recorded this a little bit, but at the time of recording, there were recently the Game Awards, which over recent years, I think it's going for 10 years, something like that. That's kind of like, it's become the Oscars or Emmys of video games. There are other award shows, and really, do award shows matter? I don't know, but it's fun. And every year they do a game of the year. Yeah. And so I'm going to see let me actually see. The first one they have listed here is 2014. Okay.
Oh my God. So you want me to list
11
them?
years. But I'm going to give you the options.
Okay. 11 years of Game Awards? Oh my God. Okay.
Maybe we won't do all 11 years, but we're going to see starting with this year, which should be a gimme. Yeah. But I will give you the nominees. Okay. And you tell me who won.
Okay.
The Game of the Year award from the Game Awards.
This is fun. This is such a good one. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So 2025.
Yeah.
Your nominees are Death Stranding 2, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Hades 2, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Hollow Knight Silksong, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Oh, those are some good games. Great. Hollow Knight. I'm going to say Clair Obscura.
Ding, ding, ding.
Thank you.
You got it.
Donkey Kong was up there. I got to play that.
I know. I've heard it's fantastic, actually. Okay, 2024. Your options are Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Astrobot, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree, Metaphor ReFantasio.
Was it Astrobot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. Nice.
I know.
Great. It's on my playlist.
I know. That's why I was like, okay.
2023.
Okay.
Alan Wake 2.
You wish. You wish.
That's it. Game of the century.
It should have been.
Oh, dear Lord. Baldur's Gate 3. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Resident Evil 4. Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
Damn, Baldur's Gate beat Resident Evil?
Yeah, it did.
Nice.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yep.
3 for 3 so far. 2022.
Okay, this is where it gets hard.
A Plague Tale Requiem. Elden Ring. God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West.
Oh, this is tough.
Stray, Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
I think God of War, or is it Elden Ring?
You got to choose one.
Oh, it's too tough. I can't remember between the two. They're both great games.
Both phenomenal games. Played both. Love them both.
God of War.
Very good at them both. Wrong.
Oh,
it was Elden Ring.
It was Elden Ring.
Eked it out.
But he won Best Actor that year.
That could be.
I think so.
Which he would deserve it.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal in,
Yeah.
in Ragnarok especially. Okay. 2021. Your options are Deathloop, Metroid Dread, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, It Takes Two, Psychonauts 2, Resident Evil Village.
I actually don't know.
Not as good a year, honestly.
I know. That was a tough.
I mean, nothing against those games, but
I mean, you put Tears in those games or Baldur's Gate. And, yeah. Okay. I'm gonna say Resident Evil.
wrong.
Ratchet.
It Takes Two.
It Takes Two. Really?
Yeah, the co-op.
It's a good game.
phenomenon.
It was a good game.
It is a good game.
Yeah.
It's very good. Okay, 2020. Animal Crossing New Horizons.
No, probably.
Doom Eternal. The Last of Us Part 2. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Ghost of Tsushima or Hades.
Oh,
A lot
that's
of
tough.
good games
That's
in there.
tough.
Ooh, I've played a lot of those. They're phenomenal.
I want to say Last of Us 2.
Final answer?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah,
ding,
yeah,
ding, ding. Very deserving.
Yeah. Though Ghost of Tsushima.
It's a phenomenal game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe we'll jump around some years. 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Doom. Inside. Titanfall 2. Overwatch. Uncharted 4.
Overwatch 2?
No, Overwatch.
Overwatch.
First one. 2016.
Uncharted. Was it Overwatch?
It was Overwatch.
It was? I knew
Some
it.
consider a controversial
Yeah,
win.
yeah. Sunk many hours in that game.
Yes, we've played Overwatch together.
We have.
I'm
I
not
bought
very
it for
good
you
at it.
for your
You
birthday.
did buy it for me.
Yeah. It was the one shooter game I was better than you at,
That's true.
but you just didn't play it enough.
Yeah, I would have got
We should
there.
play Marvel Rivals.
Ooh, that does look fun, actually.
It does, yeah.
It's free to play, isn't it?
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's kind of an Overwatch reskin, basically,
Yeah.
but it's
But you get to
popular
be
now.
superheroes.
You get to be superheroes.
Okay.
Yeah, and they
I'd
just
try that
released
with you.
Deadpool, I think.
Yeah, we're going to get addicted to it.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. There are 4 main learning styles. Okay, this is a psych one.
Okay. All right, my brain already hurts.
you know this. Okay. They're pretty obvious.
Yeah.
I think by a guy named Nielsen
Uh-huh.
in New Zealand came up with these in 1987.
Okay.
What are the 4 main learning styles? And which games do you feel like, this is a critical thinking one, so it's not a right or wrong, it's critical thinking,
Okay. This is interesting.
would help develop each of the learning styles? And maybe there's a game out there that does all of them. This is kind of like, what kind of a learner are you? Are you a aura
Okay.
or a...
Okay.
Yeah. That's the learning styles.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, auditory,
Yeah.
visual,
Yeah.
tactile,
Yeah.
and kinesthetic? Or is tactile and kinesthetic the same?
They're the same. Yeah. There's one more.
olfactory smell.
Hey, that could be a new area of research. You want a hint?
Yeah.
So visual is broken into 2 things.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
Written, like words.
Yeah.
And pictures.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Good job. Yeah. So it's VARC, visual, auditory, reading, writing, and kinesthetic.
Right.
VARC.
Okay.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Okay.
Okay. So, okay. Well, let me start with kinesthetic or tactile because I feel like that's probably the narrowest
Good point.
form.
Good point.
Because even if you think about, the PS5 has a haptic feedback,
Mm-hmm.
like more advanced vibration, games like Astrobot use it in really cool ways, but I don't feel like you're really learning. It's not like you learn to play through the feedback. So I would only go with like games like Wii Fit, Just Dance. Like I think those games probably the kinesthetic learning.
You can maybe argue Journey or Flower have that
Maybe.
tactile
Yeah.
kinesthetic, but yeah.
I mean, I guess overall video games, because you're using the controller, there's a kinesthetic learning. But if I'm trying to differentiate,
Yeah, you're not learning how to shoot a gun by playing Call of Duty.
Right.
Like it's not that kinesthetic.
yeah,
So like I'm talking about like what do you actually learn?
yeah,
Like is it going to improve something?
yeah,
Yeah.
So I think games like I would say Just Dance.
Yes, that's a good one.
Does it actually make you a good dancer? I don't know, but you're learning how to move your body and match it and go to the rhythm. There's something there that you're kinesthetically learning.
And there's a reward system that tells you whether you're doing well or not.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Or like Rock Band.
Yeah.
Guitar Hero, those kind of games.
Yeah.
Now, I would always get frustrated because I could play the guitar, but Guitar Hero was really hard. Like this doesn't
Ting,
match.
ting, 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 ting.
But there is
Yeah.
something there. You're
Yeah.
moving your fingers. I think the drums more probably accurately
Yeah,
match
yeah.
because the rhythm and using your different limbs. So that would be my those like music rhythm
Great answer.
type games.
Great answer. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, all games use pictures, so there's visual learning in every game.
But there's a game that specifically...
Well, I'm going to say with written, like with reading, what's the official title?
Read text, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, part of me goes back to, I have two thoughts. Either the old text-based games back in the day.
Yeah. Forces you to read. Yeah.
Yeah, it was only text, or kind of the modern version of that, text-heavy RPGs.
Yeah.
So even with voice acting, I think there's a lot of reading that still goes into it. And yeah, I mean, what are you learning? I mean, you're learning the story and the world. Is it making you a better reader? Maybe.
Or even it's not learning, like so Just Dance is kinesthetic heavy.
Yeah.
Reading, writing RPGs are read and write heavy.
Because I'm definitely somebody who, even Baldur's Gate 3, it's all voice acted, but I definitely I read ahead and then skip ahead. I don't
totally.
Unless it's a cutscene or something.
And some of those games you have to talk to people and read for the hints of the game and things like that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of item description reading. So I think there's a lot of that. I guess that what I just said makes me think of the FromSoft games like Elden Ring, Dark Souls, because a lot of the story is told. They do a lot of subtle storytelling, and a lot of it is told through item descriptions. So there's actually a lot of reading. If people are into the lore, a lot of reading of those item descriptions to find out what the story is and the lore of the world. So, yeah, I guess that would be my answer for like the text-heavy RPGs, the Dark Souls series, for that specific item descriptions. I think auditory.
Yeah, this was a hard one too. Yeah. Are there any games that you can play just by listening?
There's got to be. I mean, there's blind gamers.
Yeah, for sure.
Accessibility is becoming more and more of a thing. Ooh. I mean, a lot of games use auditory cues.
And I've seen speedrunners do blindfold speedrunning.
Yeah. So there's something to that, but I'm trying to think what games would stand out. I mean, in some ways, I think music rhythm games, again, there's obviously an auditory heavy piece to that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm biased because I play The Last of Us so much, but games like The Last of Us or Uncharted, in some ways, there's a huge auditory component because there's so much dialogue. It's story heavy. And though the visuals are obviously a huge part of it too, it's less, in an RPG, there's big text that might be voice acted, but it's a lot of exposition dumping, whereas those games are more cinematic, right?
Yeah.
So... And a lot of the story is also told through contextual conversations that as you're playing, the characters will talk to each other about what they're seeing. And so that's presented, it's very auditorily. Or I guess, what I also think of? Games like BioShock that use audio logs. You can keep playing, but they're telling you the story through an audio log that you find. Yeah. I feel there's probably a better answer.
I know. It's something to research for the next time. Like a game that's specifically... only auditory. I feel like there's mobile games or something for sure.
Yeah, and I feel like there's a game on the tip of my tongue, but I just can't place it that has really great sound design. That's
Kingdom Hearts.
No, that's not.
Yes,
that would
it does.
never
Great
be my
music.
answer.
Such good music.
Never.
You don't even need to look at it to play.
Yeah. For the picture visual.
Yeah.
I
Drawful 2.
Well, I mean, yes. Great game. Jackbox Collection.
It is a great game. Yeah.
You know what I think of is what are those games? Limbo and Inside. Yeah, those games come to mind because they're side scrollers, but they're interestingly visually presented. And a lot of it is obviously you're paying attention to the environment and the enemies and how to platform and solve puzzles. And, or like a game like The Witness that's very puzzle heavy. That's but the puzzles are very visual.
Great answers.
Thanks. That was tough. That was a good question.
It's fun though, right?
Yeah.
Now we don't need to know.
That's
now
good.
we know a list of games. Yeah.
Do you have any answers for those that I didn't say?
I would say visual, kind of similar to Nancy Drew games.
Oh yeah. Nice.
Those are good. And I would call them read-write games too, because it's all reading and writing. And you don't need to be technically proficient at games to play those games.
Yeah.
Auditory, I was thinking Journey and Flower, because you need to move through the world, but you could technically use sound to know when you're going the right way or the wrong way.
That's true.
Kinesthetic, Wii games and things like that. Racing games feel very kinesthetic to me if you got the wheels and things like that.
Ooh, that's good answer.
Yeah.
I like that.
What else? Yeah, I think that's, and then visual. This is on the tip of my tongue too, but there's definitely visual puzzle games. Like Portal maybe is a good
Portal's
visual
a good
game.
one, yeah.
You have to solve it through, you don't really need to listen.
No.
There's no hints that way, no kinesthetic and no read writing. It's all visual puzzles.
Yeah. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
I like that. It's been a pleasure.
It has been amazing and I can't wait to do more episodes.
Absolutely. I'm excited.
Alrighty. Thank you everyone for listening. It's been an awesome ride. We're going to put up all of our socials and things like that up. So if you want to contact us, feel free to email us or Instagram chat us. Give us ideas of things you want to talk about for season 2. Give us some feedback. We're always open to that. We're also hoping to do things like Let's Plays and events and things like that in and around around this region, but also maybe some online stuff going forward too. We've got tons of great ideas.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're excited.
Yeah. Awesome. Alrighty. Well, till next time, my friend.
Bye.
Bye.